Do do do. All righty, here. This is really cool. We are now live on Facebook. I am so happy to be
Yay.
doing this again. And why am I not going? Isn't this has just become a tradition now? Sheila takes 300 years to do all her tech stuff. How we get
That's
started, but we're
all
good now.
right.
We are live on both Instagram and Facebook, and I'm so excited. I was talking with our fabulous finance guru, Peggy Doviak, earlier today and told her I'm just so excited about this. It's like my head is just about to explode.
Oh, you're so kind. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's just, I love it. We all love it when you're on, Peggy. And Carolyn is already here right on time. And oh, you guys know the drill. I love it when you all ring in where you're coming from so that we can know. And someday I really am going to get every state representative. Not there yet, but hi, Kathy. Thanks for joining us. And I see some of our Instagram king has come in. Thanks, you guys, for joining us via Insta. I just washed my mouth and I can't do a thing with it. Anyway, but I'm really happy that so many of you are already joining us here. We're going to be talking about the new year. And I was thinking about this the other day and thinking, this year will go in a blink. They always do. And what do I want? What do I want my state of mind to be in 2025? Do I want to be saying, oh man, I feel like I accomplished a lot. I learned a lot of good things happened in my life. Or do I want to be going, there went another year slipping right through my fingers. And that can happen so easily, can't it, Peggy?
It can. It can. It's just remarkable how fast years go.
They do. And hi, Nancy has joined us now from Wisconsin. Very cool. Glad you guys are coming and letting us know where you're from. That's fun. Those of you who are going to be with us live are going to be eligible for a couple of giveaways we have. Peggy, you want to tell us what you are being generous with?
Sure. I'm going to give a copy of my new cozy mystery, You Can't Cheat Death. And then I am part of the Wild Rose Press calendar. So I'm going to give away 2 calendars and a book, and that'll go to 3 different people.
That is so cool. And I am, because a lot of what we're going to be talking about is finances, I am giving away a copy of my little How to Live Large on a Small Budget book, written by the Queen of Living Large on a Budget. And this is just a little book that I self-published, and it's been a while now, so maybe some of the things are dated, but the basic advice is not, and it's kind of a fun
No, it's a
read.
great book.
Oh, thank you. You're so sweet. That coming from Peggy. Oh, wow. Okay, that's way cool. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so that's going to be what we're going to be giving away, but we're going to jump right in with talking about, I know we talked about when we were talking earlier, New Year's resolutions, but I almost don't like to use that term because to me, it can be intimidating, especially a lot of people, I don't even do it because I don't keep them. And I thought, so let's not talk about New Year's resolutions. You need resolution, obviously, but let's talk about plans and goals and how we're going to make those goals happen. So, hey, Melinda, hey, I hope your knee is doing okay. I'm glad you could join us. She's one of my street team. Anyway, let's talk about some things that we can do to make 2025 a good year for us, and not talking about this big amorphous elephant of a thing that we call New Year's resolution, but just making plans. And so I want to talk about that. I'm going to kind of talk in general terms, and Peggy is going to have some great financial advice for us. And so let's just go ahead and we'll get started on that. One of the things we talked about is kind of breaking things down into a manageable bite, so to speak. Because let's take, for example, and I'm going to let Peggy do this in a minute with finances, but let's just say diet. I'm going to get healthy this year. Well, that is just a huge, big, what on earth does that mean, right? I'm going to, because that can involve diet, that can involve exercise, that can involve all kinds of things. But if you break it down, and I mentioned this in my newsletter that I send out, get it down to like one. Think of one specific thing. Now, we have multifaceted lives. So you can't be doing this big thing for every part of your life. Healthy, I'm going to read this many books. I'm going to be a better person. I mean, all those are just really big, vague things. So we want to narrow this down into something specific. Okay, for example, diet. I am going to this year, you know what? I'm going to quit sugar. Well, to me, that's even too big. I am going to not go crazy during the week. If I bake, I'm going to eat my 2 cookies, the rest go to the neighbors, and I'm going to try and behave myself during the week. And then on the weekend, if I'm at a party or I'm going out, I can treat myself and have a little fun. Now, how do we apply that to our finances, Peggy?
So, what people will say for New Year's resolution is, I want to get better with my money, or I want to save more money, or I need to get control of my money, or I need to do something about my debt. I mean, there's so many. And I don't
Mhm.
even think we know we're being vague when we do it. But the problem is, if you say it's kind of like I want to get healthy, if you say, I want to get better with my money, then what does that mean? The idea of creating something that is concrete and is measurable. So
Mm.
rather than saying I want to get better with my money, maybe you say I want to start saving money every month. Okay, so that's concrete. We know what saving money is. Measurable is how much. And this is where people screw up with their money and their diets, because they come up with a number that they think they should be saving, because somebody has made them think that, oh, well, I need to save $300 a month. Well, you might not have $300 a month. You might not be able to save $100 a month. You might really only be able to save $50 a month, or maybe even 25. And we're talking earlier about old sayings and we're not sure where they came from. My favorite is that great is the enemy of good. So, yeah, it might be
Mm.
great for you to save $100 a month. You might even be able theoretically to do it, but it'd be really good if you could save 50. What I want you to set is a number that's actually not a stretch. They talk about stretch goals, and it's all this new life coaching stuff. I don't want your savings to start out a stretch goal, because I
Mm.
don't think you'll do it. Because nobody does,
What makes you
and
think
because they just get frustrated. So I want you to start with a goal that you know that you can do. And I want you to become conscious of your money. And I want you to become conscious of the money going in and the money going out. And what you may find is that the $25 a month is actually really easy. Okay, raise it to 50. But here's the deal. I want you to do it every single month, and it's unrealistic if I tell you to do it at the beginning of the month and you say, I can't do that. That's because you don't have that much money. And subconsciously, it. The
Mm.
whole pay yourself first thing is good, but you need to pay yourself an amount that you can do.
Mm.
So I want you to do that. And then and then we'll get back to the second one. But one more part of this that's going to make it so much more successful: if it's concrete and it's measurable, you also know when it's done. So some people don't want to make resolutions and they don't like doing any of this. Other people are so worried that things aren't okay. They have a permanent sense of dis-ease. So
Mm.
they're always worried. They're always antsy. If you set a goal and you can make it, and you make it on the first or the fifth, or whenever you get paid at the first of the month, every single month your stress level drops because you've made your goal. Then if you can save a little bit more, that's great. You should, because ultimately you've got to save enough to be able to retire, but you can't start there if you're not saving now.
Good point. Good point. I'm going to throw out a hi to some of our people who've just joined in. We've got Peggy and Ellen, Libby, Patty, Kathy, and Cindy. Hey guys, thanks for joining us. We're talking about goal setting, and Peggy's giving us great advice already on the money. And I want to chime in now on that too, the small amount. You know, the old thing about the found money, there's usually some dribble that can be caught, and the old example they always use of a latte. Well, the price of latte, there you go. There's half of $10 a week. And groceries, guys, feel free also to ring in with your comments and advice, because this is how we get better. We share with each other, but for me, I notice, and I usually have my grocery list when I go to the store, but it's amazing how sometimes I wander off the rails and I buy, oh, chips. Oh, look. Oh, chocolate. Oh, little things are, oh, I could use this later. And oh, I think, and all of a sudden I kind of went over. But what I often will try to do is just snitch a little bit of money from the grocery budget. I was doing, okay, my math. Hopefully I did not screw this up. So the math, I did this, talked about this earlier on some social media. Let's say you managed to get $10 a week that you've squeezed between your household money and your grocery money. Okay, well, 4 times 10, that's $40 a month. $40 a month times 12 is 480, 430, 480, for something.
40 a month would be 480.
Thank you, 480. And I mean, and look, that's a nice sized chunk of money. And
A
it's
lot of
all
money.
because maybe you just didn't go quite so crazy at the grocery store, or you resisted that. Oh gosh, even in, I mean, places like Ross Dress for Less, and what's the other one I like? I can't think of it. Not Target. The other one that's like Ross Dress for Less. It went right out of my
Kohl's?
mind. Who?
Kohl's?
No, it's just like them. Oh, fiddle. It'll come to me when this is over. But all these stores that kind of have a different, mainly clothes, but then they have some household items and other things thrown in. And this one that I'm thinking of that I can't think of, that I'll remember when we're all done, naturally. They always have like the little candy and the really cool snackies, right? When you're in the checkout line. Of course, the grocery stores do that too, don't they? And
And
so,
I'm hungry.
yeah, yeah. And well, Bev says she tries to stick to a list. Good on you, Bev, because that can be hard to do. And
It
grocery stores
can.
do this on purpose.
Can I offer an idea on that?
Yeah.
So when you make a list to go to the store, absolutely use a phone app, use a piece of paper, make yourself a list. Then I want you to write 2 blank lines. And I want you to assign a dollar value to each of the lines. Maybe it's $5, maybe it's $7, maybe it's $10. Those are your lines for your impulse purchases. And
Oh, I love
now,
that.
no, and so here's what it keeps you from doing, because I am the queen of the impulse purchase. So you go to the store and you say, I'm going to buy what's on my list and I'm not going to buy anything else. And really, my worst is the very beginning of the holiday season, because I'll walk in and suddenly it's Halloween or fall or Thanksgiving. And oh, look, they have the orange Halloween Oreo cookies, which are my
Oh,
downfall. And so
yeah.
I grabbed the Oreo cookies. Now, what have I done? I've broken my list, right? And because I've broken the rules, there's no point in even trying to stay on the list. So now I buy the plastic pumpkin and the socks and maybe the pumpkin pie Pop Tarts. Yes, they are a thing. And I buy 5 or 6
Oh,
things. Oh, no, they're really tasty. But the thing is, if you have 1 or 2 items, and it's going to depend on your budget, but if there is that thing that you see that you can't live without, you've given yourself permission to buy it. And it stops the go crazy spending money because you broke the rules, because you didn't break the rules, you changed the rules.
that's great. And you know what? It's spend a clock somewhere, right?
It is spend. Oh, it's
By the way,
always
thanks,
spend the
guys.
clock.
Several of you rang in. TJ Maxx. That was, I just could not get that to the front of my brain. So thanks, guys. Yeah, that's another one. And they just have all this cool stuff. And they especially have all this cool stuff along the whole line while you're waiting to get to the checkout. So thanks, guys. And welcome to some of you who have just rang in. Gosh, we had Debbie from Zephyr Hills. I've never heard of Zephyr Hills. So that's kind of fun. Nice to have some people joining us who maybe haven't before. And for those of you who are just joining us, we are talking about making our New Year's, not resolutions, but our plans, for setting our goals, and then talking about how we're going to get to those goals. So I think that's really important. We're talking about breaking this into small bite-sized pieces, and that whether we're talking about your diet, how you're going to manage your time, if you're going to make improvements on how you keep your house, any of those things, you've got to be small enough that you know you're going to be able to reach the goal. And of course, the same with your money. You can't say, I'm going to save a whole bunch of money this year, or I'm going to make more money, or I'm going to whatever, or even this is the year I'm going to write that book. Well, guess what? You maybe are you going to write this book, but you're going to write it. And boy, Peggy, we're going to talk about her that in a minute because she is a dynamo. But the way you're going to write your book is by budgeting some time to do it. If you don't have a plan, it'll just get put off, put off, put off. You have to set office hours. Peggy, I wanted you, because you were telling me earlier about your writing goals for the year. You want to share that?
Sure. And by the way, I want to mention too, today is Epiphany. It's We Three Kings Day. So I am allowed to have my tree up until tomorrow. And I just want everyone
Okay.
to know the tree's on purpose. Yeah, so I'm a fretter. I'm a worrier, which is probably good since I manage people's money. It's good for me to worry, but I'm a real fretter. And so one of my New Year's resolutions for this year is I'm going to get up in the morning, 7:30, and I'm going to work for an hour before I go to my day job, which is my financial planning firm. And then when I come home in the afternoon, which is not a good time of day for me, I can sit down and maybe have a cup of tea and relax on the couch and have dinner. And then in the evening, I'm going to write one more hour. But I don't have to do any writing at all between 9 in the morning and 9 at night. And I'm hoping that what this does is it keeps me from getting overwhelmed. When I get overwhelmed,
Mhm.
I just spin in circles and I don't get anything accomplished. And so if I can write for an hour and I'm done, and then I can go do my day job, and then I can come and relax a little bit and then sit down and write for another hour or do marketing for half of that or whatever I need to do. But I actually think 2 hours a day, 7 days a week, I'll end up working more, and certainly I'll have a freer mind. If two's not enough, I can up it. I could always raise it to 2.5 or even 3. But I think if I'm consistent, I think I can get a lot done in that length of time. But I have times I'm not working. And so my resolution is weirdly not to worry about working so much.
Well, and when you're, and Peggy and I are both type A personalities. And so driven, 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 and the other, I'm finding, I mean, even like at night, I'll think, oh, I should do this, or, oh, a great idea for a book or a song comes in my head. I reach the point where it's like, just keep a doggone notebook and a
Yeah.
pencil next to the bed, because otherwise I'm bouncing up and down. I almost get settled and it's like, oh, wait. And then I blink up and there. And so, that's maybe a good thing to do. We have got, let's see. Oh, Lou says, same, I shut down when I'm overwhelmed. It's very easy to get overwhelmed. That's why we want to keep our goals in small, manageable bites.
Small
So we don't
measurable
get,
bites. The end result can be huge. Okay. Your goal, my goal is to write 2 books and a short story this year. So I mean, it's a lot of writing, but I think if I eat that elephant one bite at a time, it's going to
yes,
make it a
yes,
lot
yes.
easier.
If
Little
you
bitty
don't break it
discrete
down,
things.
if you don't break it down, you're gonna get goal indigestion, and we don't
Yeah.
want that. We've had
No.
some comments come in. I want to quickly talk with those. First of all, this is interesting. Where'd it go? Bev said something about figure out how to buy eggs. Okay, that scares me. If you got to figure out how to buy eggs, Bev, we definitely need to be giving you tips. You let us know what tips we can do to. I'm hoping you were being facetious. I know eggs are really expensive right now, but so I guess
I
maybe it's,
will
am
give
I going
you
to buy
one
eggs or am I going to buy
grocery
chocolate?
store tip, though. The less you buy that's processed, the cheaper it is.
Mm.
So yes, eggs
Oh
are
my
eggs are
gosh.
crazy
Bev
expensive,
said
but
$12 a dozen for eggs last time she went to the store. Well, that's
well,
horrifying. It's
but
not
my
back
eggs
here in
don't cost
Washington.
that much in
But it's about
Oklahoma.
4 or 5. And even that, I remember when eggs were the cheapest thing you could get,
Right.
And so maybe we're going to do a little bit more eggless baking. Maybe I need to share some. I think I might have some eggless recipes I'll have to share. Let's see. We had some other good point though. But I mean, that is a really good point you make. Groceries, food is going up, everything is going up, which means, of course, we have to find ways to live creatively with fun and tighten our belts enough so that there's still money to pay for these things. Let's see, we've got Carolyn suggested put $1 a day in a jar. And
Mhm.
that's a great suggestion. One of the things I do is I go to our local little Winco with the debit card, and I just to put on a little bit extra and get the cash back. And then I scroll that away in the door and just in the door. I cannot talk tonight, you guys, in the drawer. And just kind of let that build up a little bit towards saving for whatever I need. Melinda says, buy chickens. She has live chickens, you guys. She is the coolest house in the country. And, sadly, there is no room for chickens in my little house that has like no yard. But
No,
hey,
they
it's
won't
a
let me
thought.
keep chickens.
Oh dear. And let's see, there was one other comment. What was that I was trying to deal with? Maybe that was it. Oh yeah, Deanne. She goes, how about some tips for that 2026 cruise we're all talking about doing? And it looks like I've got to officially tally the numbers. It looks like the majority are thinking that would be really fun to do the Canada and the East Coast thingy. And the one I looked at, I found it starts in Boston, and it looks like it's pretty affordable. And talking about money, so we'll talk about how to squirrel that away in a minute. But here's one thing I am going to point out with things like cruises: you don't necessarily have to get the total top huge balcony. Only if you want it. I would always at least have a room with a window. And I'll tell you why, because one of my friends, this was way back when COVID first happened. Remember hearing about the cruise ship that nobody would let land? Well, she was on that ship, and some friends had taken they're just the inside rooms with no view, interior rooms. They said, you never spend any time in your room anyway. Well, guess what? They were all shut in their rooms, and they were allowed to come out twice a day to walk in the hall. And I'm going, I am never doing that. And, probably this will never happen again on our lifetime, but it made me think I always want to have at least a view or access to fresh air. So that's something to keep in mind. But I do think, like we were talking about with any goal with Peggy, do some research, just get a vague idea. I do have a link. I was talking about Melinda. She kind of wants to wait and see if we all survive our first readers cruise together before we go jumping off the diving board into another cruise ship boat, although I'm pretty much leaning toward doing that. But anyway, but I think one of the best things we can be doing is, first of all, kind of get a general idea, go online. I'll share a link at some point of what a cruise costs. You can do that without actually buying the cruise. And then you can budget. If you budget a little bit, the good thing with this is we're not talking about doing anything until 2026. So what you want to do, Peggy, tell me if I'm doing that right, is divide that amount by months, right? Yes. And then that'll give you an idea about how much you want to spend. Am I pretty right on with that?
You're absolutely right. What I suggest is that right after the holidays, see what you spent this last year and include any food, any beverages, all of the gifts, the whole 9 yards. Know what that costs. Then figure out what your summer vacation is going to cost. And then you can save for your vacation January through June, and you can save through the holidays July through December. And if you've got to shift those months, that's fine, but it lets you break those two costs into 6 months each, and it keeps it from getting as overwhelming.
That's good advice. And sometimes too, and this is how Gerhard and I have pretty much always operated, because we had some very lean years at some point early on in our marriage, and kind of gave me a case of scarcity brain. I was talking with Peggy about that earlier. I'm just so cheap. I pinch pennies till they scream. Yeah, but where was I going with that? Oh my gosh, it's not a good thing to get old. Oh, just the whole thing with the saving. I really don't remember. Oh my gosh, it was brilliant what I was going to say.
Saving for Peggy? 6 months for each thing, and then saving for another 6 months for the holidays.
Yeah, just parcel it out ahead of time. And again, there are some things that that's where I was going. It came back into my poor little wandering brain. So we would tend to, throughout our years, we would forego some of the smaller pleasures because we had our eye on the bigger prize. So we never went out for dinner a lot. We'd go out for our anniversary. We'd go out maybe a little more, but really not. We don't go out very much because it's pricey, and we would rather save up that money and and take a trip. So sometimes you're cutting out some of the smaller pleasures because you have the big end game in mind. And that was how we did it. We used to, of course, Gerhard also took small tour groups, and that would give him his fix because he grew up in Germany, and so we had to get back every so often. And that would help pay for that. But so, I mean, it's a matter of weighing, okay, what little thing do I want to not do? And then I'll apply the money from that to the big thing that I'm hoping to do. So I hope that helps a little bit. And I'm certainly glad that came back in my brain. Oh my gosh, you guys, I've got brain fog tonight or something. It couldn't have anything to do with my hair color, right? No, nothing to do with that. But anyway, so those
you are smart ideas. And you are capable.
I'm going to blame it on there's just too much in here. It's all getting a little crowded in there. And any new thoughts like, we have no room for you. Get out of here. Oh, dear. Let's see. Lou says, I do appreciate making the connection of overly processed foods being more expensive. I hadn't thought about that. That's, good point. Somebody did mention that. Just, sometimes you don't buy the overly processed. Go ahead and do it. Make your own kind of thing.
If you buy the perimeter of the store, it will be cheaper. It's the aisles that are expensive.
That's
now you need bread. Point. I mean, you've got to have. I am not going to bake my own bread, but not daily.
Hey, here's the thing, not money oriented, that Cindy shared, and I like this. I schedule cleaning time each day to keep up my housework without feeling like I'm not getting it done or keeping up. So again, it's back to that. Everything is back to do a little, and eventually the little adds up to a lot. Would you say that's a pretty good assessment, Peggy?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I think that's really a good thing to keep in mind. I wanted to share some, and Peggy's going to ring in on this too, and how it applies to us with our finances. By the way, guys, if you do have questions, please be sure to post them. I'm trying to
Yes.
keep an eye on the comments as we're talking. So if you have questions for Peggy, finance questions, I mean, she is here for it. Oh, Deanne, I bake my own bread. Oh my goodness, you are putting
I'm
us to shame there, girl.
impressed.
Yes, I am too. Oh my gosh, save me a slice. Homemade bread. Oh, that's so good. Yum. All right, so here are a couple of things I want you to ask yourself right now as we're talking about the new year. Okay. Number one is, what is one thing I'd like to change this year? Let's just pick one thing. I would like to exercise more. You would like to make one change in your diet. You would like to add more vegetables, take out some of the sugar, make it one thing. Okay. So, what's one thing maybe that you would like to change this year in your life so that you're a happier camper come 2026? Okay, that's one. And here's a biggie. What attitude change do I need to make for that to happen? Sometimes we think, well, I can't do that, or we think, well, I don't want to do that, or we get discouraged. And again, the discouragement partly comes because we set too high a goal for ourselves, don't you think?
I do. Oh, I absolutely do. And I think that we can have imposter syndrome where we feel like we're not really capable of doing whatever it is that we said we were going to do. And, maybe your goal for the year is to take a step so that you can get rid of that imposter syndrome so that you can achieve those goals because we can do entirely more than we think we can.
For sure. And now that this is dovetails really nicely with a comment that just came in from Linda, who's down to one income now that she's lost her husband and is having to learn
I'm
a new way
sorry.
of budgeting. And I know Peggy can identify with that. And some of this almost you have to do, I can do this. I can do this attitude. You can't have your attitude be, oh my gosh, now I
Can
don't know
I
what to
can
do.
I ask how
Yes.
long ago? Because I can't see the comments.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. And Linda, do you want to ring in how long ago this has been? And I know Peggy can speak to this because she has been down this road. I have not yet. And one of my concerns always is I'm Gerhardt is just like he is the brains of the family. I'm the little writer that writes the books, and he manages our business, our funds, and everything. And I told Peggy, "Oh my gosh, if something happens to Gerhardt, I am ah!" And Peggy said, "Sheila, I will come up there. I will help you. I will help you sort this out
I will
because that's
help
one of
you
my
learn
biggest
how to
fears."
do it yourself is what I will do. But so if you don't want to answer, nobody's trying to put any pressure on you at all. I lost my husband about, oh goodness gracious, 3 years and 10 months ago.
Wow, it's been that long now.
So, yeah, it's been that long. I will
Mhm.
tell you that the advice about, "Oh, wait 6 months." Yeah, it's gonna take you 6 months to know your last name. So you
Mhm.
really want to give yourself grace, give yourself patience, be kind to yourself. You can do this. But right now you may not believe me. It's gonna depend on when it is and how it is, and so many things play into this. But, my email address is peggy@peggydoviak.com. It's super easy. Just Peggy@peggydoviak. If you wanna reach out to me, if you're worried, and that actually goes for anybody who's on the Zoom. I have no idea what I've just committed myself to. But, seriously, if you've got specific questions and you don't want to ask it in a public forum, anybody who's one of Sheila's readers is a friend of mine. So,
For sure.
just and especially if you feel super overwhelmed and you don't think you can do it, please reach out because it's hard. It is absolutely stinking hard, but you can do it.
And Linda says her cousin passed away in 2020. So, gosh, in the middle of COVID and everything else. So, you kind of had double trauma there,
Yeah.
So, don't beat yourself up for that. But
No.
it's going to
No,
be
no. And
different.
seriously, just shoot me an email and we can schedule a time to talk.
Oh, that's so sweet of you. Don't you guys love Peggy? Don't you love it when we have her on? She's just like the best. Well, I have a
I
couple
know what
comments.
it's like. I know what it's like to feel overwhelmed. I know what it's like to not have, and you don't want to bother your friends because there is a point where you just kind of can't do it anymore. And you need somebody that you can ask a question of who isn't going to take advantage of you. And I kind of specialize in that.
Okay, so we've
That's
got
not
more.
as a client. This has nothing to do with the business. It's just reach out and I'll talk to you.
Okay, I'm making notes as we've got comments coming in. I want to try and get to you in this thing and staying out of the aisles. I'm numbering these in order here. So that's number 3. I hope I can read my writing. Okay, so we did have, this is interesting. Where'd it go? This is cute. I love it. Cindy said, I've got a Starbucks addiction. How can I break that? And I'm thinking slowly. You don't have to go cold turkey on your Starbucks.
No,
I'm not telling you about every
actually,
latte you ever had.
I've got another solution too. It's going to be a little bit of money at the beginning. Buy yourself a fantastic coffee pot and a grinder and grind your own beans and then get one of these, we all have 500-ounce cups anymore and you can brew your own coffee. I take my own coffee most of the time. I buy nice coffee, I grind it myself, and I save tons of money.
I have to show you my little setup here. Can you guys, let's see if I can get this. Is this showing? I'm so bad at.
It is. I see
There,
your
can you
coffee
see
pot.
my little latte maker? There's
Nice.
my little, where's my frother? Oh, for crying out loud. Well, there's a
think it's over
frother
to
in
the
here somewhere.
right.
I can't, I'm so bad at the computer. Anyway, that was all going to be a show and tell to tell you. I bought that little Krups espresso maker. Oh my gosh, that's got to be 20 years old. I bought that years ago at a garage sale. I love garage sales. Garage sales are our friends, ladies. I bought that at a garage sale. I buy my little grounds. I make my little of coffee, and then I use my frother and I froth up my milk. You can buy coffee syrup at any store. You can make your own coffee syrup. I remember I shared that someplace
Now
online.
that's
I can
hard.
make a great vanilla coffee syrup. You can do all this at home, and actually, it'll even be, I don't want to say this because I love Starbucks, but it will be an even better latte than you had at Starbucks. So you can, oh, Nicole says she's a nice French press. She makes her cappuccinos and lattes
French
at home.
press is nice.
So you can learn to do it at home. But I know we love our Starbucks. So don't cut it totally out. But if you can cut back, say, okay, I'm going to go to Starbucks a couple times this month or once a week. I don't know how long you go, but just
Yeah, or
cut down on
once
it.
a week. If you're going every day, if you could cut back to twice a week, like maybe
There you
Mondays
go.
because you just can't cope, and maybe you like to go on the weekends or something. But if you could, again, it's that whole this isn't this is like Weight Watchers. Okay. The reason that Weight Watchers is opposed to crash diets is you can't live on them. So the changes that you're making are permanent changes. So I would never say you can't go to Starbucks again.
No.
But I would say that if you could go a couple of times a week rather than every day, you're gonna save. Even if you buy a nice coffee pot, it'll take a while at the beginning, but you'll save money so that you cut back on those things that you shouldn't be maybe spending as much money on, but you leave them in your life.
Yep. Okay, we've got a couple more questions here. Ginny, I see you. I see you out there. We're going to get to you. We have one more line before you, and that is this is more of a comment than a question. I want to circle back to this because Nancy said she doesn't like to make New Year's resolutions because it sets her up to fail. So our point we're trying to make, Nancy, is we don't want you to set yourself up to fail. We want you to, that's why, just pick one little thing that you would like to change. Not a big, I'm gonna, maybe, and make it a bite size that you can do. You don't have to totally cut out sugar. Say, I'm just gonna not eat as much. Say, I'm gonna have my treats on Saturday and Monday or whatever, and the exercise thing. I'm just gonna walk. I'm gonna add one walk a week and see if I can find a friend to walk with me.
Just don't park in the closest parking spot you can find.
There you go. Perfect. Yeah.
I mean, that's all you have to do to start adding steps to your day.
Okay, I say bye, Leanne. Bye, Deanne. I know the Lions are playing. If you guys are football people, okay, we understand. I'm not a football girl, so I'm going, okay, you have fun with my blessing. But we know we have our goals, and you were here for a while, and that counts. Okay, so let's get to the other question that I think it was Ginny who had. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, I lost you. Where are you? I'm making these terrible notes and I can't read them. Okay, I got to scroll back. Ginny, give me 1 second. I'm going to go back and find you in here. I know it was here it was. Yeah, Ginny would like to know more about the whole shopping and staying out of the aisles, please. Now, got any suggestions for that, Peggy?
Well, I do. And again, Jenny, this isn't a 100% of the time. Okay. And this is actually an old graduate school trick that when I would shop to the perimeter, so I would buy fresh vegetables rather than canned, where I would not buy as many potato chips and snack foods and all of those things that really aren't tremendously healthy, but they all have huge markup. So it doesn't mean you're not going to go into the middle at all, but the meats are to the outside so that like you could bake a chicken rather than going to the inside and buying all of the processed things to finish stuff out with. It's just it's not as processed and it's less expensive if you work to the outside. Now, of course, you need soda, you need bread, you need chips, but that's where you
Did
want to
you
be
say you
really
need chips?
careful. Everyone needs chips. Everyone needs chips. Have you not learned? I eat pumpkin pie Pop Tarts, so do not look to me.
Oh, you're so
But
funny. Well,
but
Nicole does
go
say depriving
into
never
that
works, and
section of
that's what
the
we're trying to
aisle
say.
and then be careful and try to shop generics. Because I was shopping for something what was it? What I bought, it was oatmeal. And it was $1.50 for the generic peach flavored oatmeal, and it was $4.50 for the
Ooh,
brand name. And it was like,
yikes.
"Oh, I could buy 3." I was like, "No, you do not need 3. So buy 1, buy 1." And okay, so I saved $3. It doesn't sound like a lot of money. But what I've started doing, and I know that going back to the eggs, there's one grocery store, our eggs are not $12 a dozen, but you've got to be careful what shelf you're on with the eggs, because in this particular store, the eggs on the very bottom shelf are about a third of the cost of the eggs that are at eye level. So look down and look up when you're trying to save the money. What is hitting you right here at your eye level is going to be the most expensive stuff on the aisle.
That's a good point. And I had to laugh. Thinking about the money that you save. Well, $3, we were talking about, saving $10 a week. That's halfway, almost halfway to saving your $10 if you just bought the
It
generic
is
oatmeal.
halfway. But I think sometimes we can feel like, and I've talked about this in my finance books, and that's going to be our segue. But where we think we should be doing more than we are, and it's just $3, it isn't worth doing. It is worth doing, because maybe you could do that 3 times in the store. I had no idea there was that much difference in price in oatmeal. Because usually I just grab something and I go, and I've been trying to be, because I've been traveling with fun book things. And so I've been trying to save my money a little bit more and not waste it on things I don't need to be spending it on. And it's just remarkable how much money you can actually save and leave with virtually the same thing you thought you wanted to go in for.
Well, except I will jump in here because, and I agree with Jenny, she pointed out that some generic really is not up to snuff. And I have found out too. Try it, and then okay, I'm not buying the generic version of this. Because there are a couple things I'm going, this was not really a great value. And so then I go, okay, I'll go back with the name brand. But there are
Right.
some things that it really is interchangeable. So that's a good thing to keep in mind.
Sure.
So, all right, let's get on to, as we're circling back to the things we want to ask ourselves as we're planning for the new year. I want to ask another one. I don't think I got to this one yet. We get so much good information here. It's easy to get sidetracked. But another thing to ask yourself is who can be my cheerleader and encourager? We all need someone who is going to encourage us to meet those goals and to maybe tackle something we're trying to tackle. You don't want the person, and there are people who, when you say, I am giving up sugar or I'm going on a diet, who will say, here, have a hot fudge sundae. That's not the person you're picking for your cheerleader. You want the friend who's going to go, whoa, 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 what are you doing? And wait, are you sure? Can you afford to spend that money? And who's going to really kind of be there for you and say, you can do this. I know you can do this. Don't you think so, Peggy?
Absolutely. And it can be disheartening sometimes when people aren't as positive. And sometimes they're not wanting to go on a diet themselves. And sometimes it can just get a little bit weird. You need to find somebody like minded. You need to find somebody who might have the same goal that you have. And so you can encourage each other and help each other get there. I do have to give a quick Sheila plug because I don't think I know another person any quicker to say what a wonderful job you're doing. And I think that that's one of Sheila's special
Oh,
things
thank you. Thanks.
that
That's
that is
sweet of
just
you.
really, really lovely. Those sorts of people are priceless
Well, and
because
sometimes,
when you can find that friend, that partner, that spouse, that jogging buddy, dieting buddy, writing buddy with a T, not a D, although writing buddies are good too. It just makes all the difference in the world in being successful. And I'm going to take it a step further because sometimes people feel very, very, very alone. Okay, so if you're out there right now and you're trying to do this and you're like, well, I don't have anybody. So what you do is you start keeping a journal of all of your successes because
oh, I
we
like
beat
that.
each other up so much. We're really good at beating ourselves up. Make a
I love that.
journal. It's not a gratitude journal. It's a look what I did journal. And give yourself credit for what you're doing. And if you do have to be your own cheerleader, it'll be easier to be that cheerleader if you can say, "Oh, look, I did this on Monday and this on Tuesday and this on Thursday. Wow, I did a great job this week." So if you can't get the support, be your own support team.
I love that. That's brilliant because we can't always. And back to people who might sabotage you, we were talking about that earlier, crab in the pot syndrome. I can't get out of this hot pot, so you're not going to get out of here. And so sometimes people can feel threatened by your goals. If you're trying to get out of debt, if you're trying to build wealth, if
And
you
if
are
they
trying,
have debt, if you're trying to get out of debt and they have debt, they won't even mean to. But see, the problem is if you're successful, it shows them that they could do it too, and they may not want to.
yeah, yeah, or they just might feel intimidated,
Yeah.
by your success, and like calls to like, as the saying goes. So if there are areas where you are trying to make improvements in your life, you want to hang out with people who are equally motivated.
Mhm.
If you're trying to get healthy, you don't want to hang out with people who are going, have another Twinkie, or who wants to go for a walk? You want to hang out with people who, yeah, I really want to work on this too. I did this years ago. I have to laugh, even though I talk about, I'm so terrified if something ever happens to Gerhard. I was really bad. This was years ago. I just want to get money concepts. And so I got together with some other girlfriends who felt the same. And we started reading books about money and money management. And yeah, even though I'm still not the one who manages it, it was
You
helpful to
could.
read these books because I realized you really can grasp this. And I remember reading a Susie Ormond book that talked about compound interest and explained how it worked. I just couldn't get that in my mind. And all of a sudden the light bulb went off and I went, oh my gosh, I can grasp this,
Right.
and sometimes we just need people to say, hey, you can grasp this, you can make this work,
Yes.
so that's a biggie. Okay, getting on to a kind of our last thing here. We could probably talk all night. This is such an interesting topic. I want the final question you guys ask yourself is, what saying or word, a lot of people pick a word for the year, Bible verse, whatever, can I pick that will inspire me this year? And I don't do the pick a word for the year thing, but I love the idea of that, and I love the idea. And one of my favorite quotes was by Walt Disney, and he said, "If you can dream it, you can do it." And I love that. I just think that's such a, because not everything is within our grasp, but more things are than we realize. So, Peggy, do you have any kind of thing that you're going to help yourself get to the year and make things happen for you?
So the title of the personal finance book for creatives that
Oh,
is
yes.
coming out, it looks like March 1st, yay, is 52 Weeks to Fearless: What
Mm.
Creatives Need to Know About Money. And I think fearless is a really important concept.
I love that. By the way, I forgot to tell you that Lou commented that she downloaded your 52 weeks book, and I forget which 52 weeks that was because Peggy has more than
Because
one.
now
But
there's going to be three.
thanks for doing that. And but
I
the
man, I
creative one, oh, that's
appreciate
going to be
that. I
great.
really, really, really appreciate that.
That's gonna be fabulous. So
The
I
other
hope.
thing that I do related to the word is I have a playlist of music. I actually got the idea from listening to what like celebrities do when they're about to go on or be interviewed, and they have a playlist, and the playlist is super positive music, and you listen to it right before you do something. So if I'm worried about something, I put on my playlist. Like the first song on it is Pharrell Williams' Happy,
Oh, I
and
love
it's
that.
kind of hard to get through that. And then Katy Perry, Fireworks, and Red Hot.
Hear me
I think it's,
roar, hear me roar. I
yeah,
love that one.
yeah.
Yeah, no,
So
that's a good
you
one.
know, anything you can do to keep that positive mindset going, it will make you feel better. If you're fighting
Mhm.
depression, it will make you feel better. It'll also make you more productive, more creative, not while you're trying to work, but just when you get down, to put on some kind of music that really lifts you up.
I love that. That's a good suggestion. So many good tips here. Oh my goodness. Peggy, you have just been fabulous. And guys, for those of you who came in late, thanks that you all took time to hang out here live because there's always a bonus for you. Peggy, you want to tell us again what you're going to be giving away?
Yeah, I'm actually going to give away a copy of my new cozy mystery, You Can't Cheat Death. And then I'm in the Wild Rose Press calendar for 2025, and I'm going to give away 2 calendars.
Which is very cool. And I'm giving away a copy of How to Live Large on a, whoops, on a, why do I have problems? There we go, on a small budget. And by the way, now, I mean, obviously, we can only have so many winners. So if some of these things interest you, get out there and get yourself a copy of Peggy's You Can't Cheat Death. Maybe pick up a copy of my How to Live Large. This was a self-published, so it's not very expensive. And when you do, remember to be kind and leave a review,
Leave
guys.
a review,
You know,
yes.
these we always need reviews, and that'll be very much appreciated. But meanwhile, we do appreciate you taking time to hang out with us. And guys, just want to let you know I have so many fun things lined up for the next couple of months of people I can be chatting with, and you're just not going to want to miss when we have a Sunday gathering scheduled. You're not going to want to miss it. And those of us who are doing the upcoming Readers Cruise in February, you'll get a chance to hang out with Peggy and pick her brain. And she and I, we are going to be there ready for a good time. And we know you're going to have a good time too. So there we have it. I hope it's going to be a wonderful new year for all of you. Thanks for joining us. Hope this was helpful.
Thanks for the invitation. Happy
Yes, well, thanks as for
2025.
always be willing to come on with us. We just appreciate it. And guys,
Oh,
we'll just wave our hands and say Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.